Hi guys, what's up? So, for today, I'm gonna try to take it slow because this is my second time making this video because for some reason the audio didn't want to work. So, we're gonna talk about what's been going on, the state of the world, and all of that jazz. I'm going to break down the signs and symbols of what's been going on. Everything that I'm talking about relates to you because everything that's on the outside is also on the inside. What's within is also without. Above, so above, as below. As above, so below. So, first thing that I wanted to mention is August is definitely not a regular month. August is a month that really is pivotal for the evolution of what we have been going through these past few years, especially these past 5 years. I feel like there is a quickening, there is a lot of fast-paced energy going on into the evolution of Earth, us going into a more 4D and 5D existence, the Earth going into a new realm. And everything up in the skies is showing us finally that we are entering this. In August, around August 12th, we had 6 planets aligning, guys. So, when there are 6 planets aligning, that means that these planets, these chakra points, are also aligning for inside of you. Not only does this mean that, but this also means that these planets are aligning. They're aligning and their energies are reaching towards Earth and they're supporting the Earth ascension. So, whether you want to believe that there was a dome over the Earth or not, or there is some sort of dome over the Earth, there was definitely something blocking us from seeing what was on the outside, receiving the energies from the dark center, from the dark mother, and also receiving the direct energies from the sun, receiving the direct energies of any of the planets. And again, this is not a common occurrence. Seeing all of the planets line up is not a common occurrence. Having all of their energies, again, reach Earth and support us during this time is not common. The next thing that definitely is not common, and again, is telling us that we have reached the celebration point. There is no returning back, there is no regression, there is just constant, continuous growth and evolution for the people, the chosen ones, the ones that again will enter into a new form of existence that has been similar in the Atlantean and Lemurian days is the shooting stars, the Perseids shower. And this does not happen often either. So having hundreds and hundreds of stars up in the sky, all different colors, rainbow colors up in the sky, basically showering us with this light is not common, guys. This is not just a random spectacle. This is literally the entire universe telling us that we have entered. We have already passed the reaching point. We have graduated, we are being celebrated by the universe itself. And as it says here, you could see this just outside of LA. And if you did not catch it, I highly recommend that you guys go check out the video so you can see it. You can feel the energy of those days. But now I want to talk about the solar eclipse. And for some reason, I decided I wanted to watch this anime, so Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I don't know why, but I feel really nostalgic. I just want to go back and watch all of the old movies, and I want to watch like all of the old shows that I used to like. And I feel like the reason why is because I'm not going to be interested in it. We are not going to be interested in the old world. We're not going to be watching movies, sitting in front of a screen and just like just be like occupying ourselves with things that honestly are just 2D and that don't really give much substance to our lives, because our lives are going to be very magical if they are not already magical for you. So, just wanted to put that out there. I don't know if anybody else is feeling nostalgic or they feel like these things are happening to you as well. But as we see the solar eclipse and in the lunar eclipse, as we see in this anime, just spoiler alert, the father figure, the evil mastermind that was going to take over the whole world and become a so-called god, was using the lunar eclipse for a ritual and basically sacrificing the people, taking their souls and turning them into a philosopher's stone so he could become a father god. He could rule over the people. And that's exactly what they've been doing in the past. So in the past, they've been using the lunar eclipses and the solar eclipses for their favor. The lunar eclipse especially is the day of darkness. Ancient people were afraid of this day. And they were afraid of this day because, again, this means that you need to go within. You need to go within and see the shadows. You need to see the parts of yourself that you don't really want to acknowledge, because if you don't, it's just going to be used against you, and it's going to continue the sleep and the dissolution, and it's going to be easier for them to use your energy, siphon your energy, especially during these times as they do these rituals, and they put sigils and transmutation circles on the earth just like they do in this anime. They put an entire transmutation circle over an entire country so they can steal all the souls. And on Judgment Day, which was the lunar eclipse, they basically sucked all the souls from them to turn them all into a philosopher's stone. But it did not work because the two brothers that you see right here, their father was able to create an inverted transmutation circle and use the blood of the righteous, I guess you would say, his own blood, and return the souls to the people. Return them back to consciousness. So, I wanted to mention that, and now I wanted to get into the presentation for today. So, I am always going to talk about the Blackamoors. I'm always going to talk about the Black Nobility. I'm going to talk about the Hidden Hand because they are the ones that have created this madness, have basically overtaken the earth. They are the hidden hand. They are the people behind the scenes. They don't want to be seen. And again, they do not think of us. They do not care about us. And they think of all of the humans on earth as animals, as sheep. Okay? So we're going to watch a video on where some of their kingdoms and where some of their reign of power began. So let's see what we got going. Let's begin.
Used to worship black people. Europeans used to worship black people. The first image is entitled Calling on the Gods. It depicts three women praying and giving tribute to this black deity. And as you can see, there's one woman kissing the feet of this deity. This is another woman kissing the feet of this idol. This is a 17th century painting depicting the Black Madonna of Montserrat. And here's another picture of them worshiping it. This artwork is from Italy in the 1800s. They were praying for a miracle. And you also can't forget Saint Veronica and her black Jesus veil. So who were these black people and who painted these images? I could start with Septimius Severus, a black emperor who conquered the Romans, but instead, I'm going to start with the Moors. This is my first source, Crest of Great Britain and Ireland. Who is this woman with the crown? Who are these men? Why are these family royal crests black? This is my next source, the golden age of the Moor. And I quote, populations that largely comprise the Moorish people, called Moors, from the Greek Moors, the Romans Moris equals dark, because of the attributes of the blackness which sharply distinguished them from the bulk of the European people. However, the inhabitants of present-day North Africa are considered ethnically and culturally distinct from the people dwelling south of the Sahara. This is only so today because of the considerable influx of European type during the white slave trade and their later movement and position of dominance after the defeat of the Moors. They came into dominance after we fell. That's how they became the royal families of Europe. Shout out to our hidden history for this next source, the conquest of Brazil. And I quote, the first contact with the Portuguese and Spanish with a dark-skinned people was the contact of the conquered with their brown-skinned conquerors. And the darker man was more cultured, more learnt, more artistic. He lived in the castles and occupied the towns. He was the rich man, and the Portuguese became serfs, slaves upon his land. Under such conditions, it would be deemed an honor for the white to marry or mate with the governing class, the brown man, instead of the reverse. So they used to worship us because we used to rule over them. And they have done so much to make sure that we never figure this out. But now we figured it out. European.
Okay, guys, so not everybody is a Moor, okay? So, the Blackamoors, the Khazarian Jews, Enlil's children, the cursed seeds, all of these are the Black Moors, and they think of themselves as elite to the humans with that again, that are of this earth, that are organic to this earth, that belong to this earth. They basically were created, okay? They were created, and they're showing a lot of images, again, of the white women kissing their feet. And we can see that up to this day with the Pope. Again, we saw him kissing the feet of some black dudes in Africa before he died. And he's not just kissing any black melanated people's feet. He's kissing this secret elite. He's kissing the black Khazarian Jews' feet. So again, I just want to mention that he said that the majority of Europe was white. No, in the past, the majority was not white, okay? There was probably a lot of mixing that went on, but as the centuries go on, people get lighter and lighter. But these dark black Moors, Jewish Moors, and you can see them throughout history because, again, they like to wear the crown. They like to wear the jewels. The Khazarian Jews themselves wear the jewels because they, again, are mulattoes. They are basically mixed with the white and the black Moors. And they basically were handling all of the jewels, and they're handling all of the banks known to this day. So, guys, again, this is not our history. This is the history of a small group of people that basically were hidden behind all doors. And yes, they were the monarchs. And if they were not the monarchs, there was a white person. There was a white person up front. That means that they were the white monarch's handler, which is happening to this day. All of the so-called royals that are white, they have black handlers, and all of the popes that were white, they had their own black pope and black handlers dealing with these Moors. Because again, these are the people that wanted to control everything, that wanted to continue the disillusionment and continue the sleep on Earth, continue the spell of King Gu that was on Earth, and basically just destroy, pillage, be sociopathic, and eat the children, because there's lots of images and documentation of them eating children, raping and pillaging, doing all of this stuff in Europe, and it's heavily documented. And they also are said to have civilized the European people. No, they have not civilized the European people whatsoever. So, We always see them throughout history and throughout time, and they conquer, they have their own empire, starting from Babylon to the Roman Empire, and they slowly dishevel, and they basically topple down this empire and create a new one, and they transplanted themselves to the US, okay? The US, and take over the land and become the hidden hand, okay? The black elite, the hidden elite. And they like to hide in the background. They like to hide behind the curtain. As we all know in Wizard of Oz, they're always going to hide themselves, and they're going to put frontmen like the white families that you guys know about, the Rothschilds, the Rothsburgs, the Rockefellers, whatever. They are not the elites that are controlling the earth. They are just the frontmen, and they are being handled by these black Moors, okay? Who like to call themselves by many, many, many names. Alright guys, let's get to the next video, and I wanted to talk about what's being seen all over the world, and they're just putting it out there that the aliens are here, the alien technology is being used against us, and we don't really know if it's AI, and we don't really know if it's, again, real, because they did that on purpose. They purposely launched the age of AI because now we don't know. Most people don't know. Is that AI or is that real? So, you have to use your own spiritual discernment. You have to take note of what your consciousness is telling you, what your intuition is telling you. And I'm just going to play this really quick and we'll talk about what's going on. What is going on? Okay, so you can't really see up close, and I feel like there's a few things that these orbs could be. So, a lot of people have been reporting there's been a lot of bubbles or like surveillance bubbles up in the air that the US government likes to use before natural disasters. Also, it could be what we've been seeing with the Booga spear. Again, this is alien technology. I highly recommend that you guys go look it up if you don't know already. Or this could be the ancestors, because the ancestors do not need to use a physical body, okay? And they can move around in a non-corporeal way, and they look like this, and there's been many images and videos, especially on the eastern part of the US. They were showing a lot of orbs going around, and again, this is letting you know that there is no longer a veil over the earth. There is no longer this dome, if you want to call it a dome, or you want to call it this shield over this earth that has been entrapping us, that's kept us in a light lock. It is no longer there over the earth. So, whatever you think it is, you need to use your own discretion. And again, know that we are in that time that you're most likely going to see things, okay? And you're most likely feeling in your own physical body, and you're seeing things in your own material body. Like, the 3D matter does not feel the same. The 3D matter that we know today, that we're feeling and that we're seeing, is not the same anymore. It is also evolving. It is also becoming more light, okay? More of the light. So, all of this is occurring. All of this is letting us know that we are evolving. The earth is evolving. If you're not going to evolve, you're not going to be here with the new earth. If you want to call it the new earth, I know some people are going to be triggered by that, but the new existence of earth, the 5D dimensional earth moving into a new realm of existence, moving closer towards the God consciousness, towards the light and the truth. So let's look at the next video, guys. We got stuff to look at. We got stuff to learn because it's that time. It's literally that time. And if you don't know, then I don't know what you know because you should know some stuff, some of this stuff. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and play the audio for dramatic effect, even though it's in Spanish. It's in Spanish, but we gonna play.
Esto pasó en Brasil,
olha
três
isso,
meteoros
três cometas
juntos,
ao mesmo
Y
tempo.
de
Essa é a
diferente
imagem mais
color
linda que eu
cada
já gravei
uno.
na minha vida. Eles não estão caindo, eles estão só passando. Olha isso. Meu Deus, que coisa incrível.
Esto pasó en Brasil.
Olha
Oh, shoot. Come on, TikTok, don't be doing this. Okay. Alright, guys, like I was telling about the Perseid shower, this, again, is showing us. This is showing us we have already reached what we wanted. Okay, it's just a matter of manifestation, matter of all of this disclosure that needs to happen, all of this where people need to start waking up. Okay, so we have 3 stars or 3 meteors that are passing through Brazil, and that's very symbolic as well. We see the different colors. And this happened in August 12th. Alright, so I am not going to play the audio because, again, it's in Spanish, but we can see the video. If it'll let me play the entire video. Okay, it's going to replay. Okay, guys, you can see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. Okay, I'm going to pause it there. The earthquake that happened in Colombia, okay? So basically the country that I'm in right now, this is what they saw before the earthquake. Again, we're seeing that this is not natural, okay? This red light is letting me know that this is alien technology, most likely coming from your government, alright? This is not natural. You can see that it looks like a vortex. It's coming down towards the ocean. And 7.5 has not really been felt in this part of the world. And right before that there was one in Japan. So just know that you need to continue using your discretion and think, is this earthquake artificial? Was it created by HARPA? Because what does HARPA like to do? They like to go to different, especially third world countries, okay? They like to go to third world countries, cause natural destruction, disasters, and basically they pick up all of the children, all the leftover children, and they sex traffic them. They do all of this stuff and they use the energy. They basically extract the energy of the people that were devastated in these areas. So, this is what happened in Colombia with the 7.5. If you're thinking that this could never happen to the Americas, I'm just letting you know there is a lot of earthquakes that are happening. There's a lot of storms that are happening in the US. And yes, there is a possibility and there is a lot of foretelling with the science that earthquakes, the tectonic plates are going, and the fault lines are going to move around, whether naturally or artificially. It has to happen because the Earth, her fault lines, her tectonic plates, they're also the joints of Mother Earth, and she's going to pop them off if she needs to for her own evolution. So, just putting that out there, and let's see what we got going here. Okay, so, after the quake, this is what people were seeing up in the skies, so let's see what we got.
Como la raro, Mira, mira. Mira, eso está suspendido ahí, huevón, ve.
Okay, guys, so, this looks like an UFO. It kind of looks like a UFO, but it also kind of looks like, a little bubble, and the US government likes to put these little bubbles before natural disasters, again, most likely to monitor or to cause the disaster. And to me, it looks like one of those bubbles, okay? Again, this has been reported. You can go look it up. The little bubbles that were suspended over different areas, again, always happen, almost always happen before every natural disaster artificially created. And let's see what we got going on with this. Right after the quake, this is what we had happening in Colombia. So if it'll let me play it, it just wants to be in darkness for some reason. Let us see, let us see. Is it going to let me play? Yes, it's going to let me play eventually. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Deja tomarle foto a eso.
La voy a montar así. ¡Ay, qué fierro!
¿Qué es eso? A ver.
Okay, guys, so this is the close-up, and this lets me know that this most likely is not a UFO, even though UFOs are always, always around, especially during big events. So this looks like the spear that I was talking about. So this is them, just an up-close video of it. So let us see what is next. What is next? Okay, so this video is just like, what the heck is going on? If you guys haven't already seen it on social media, and the news is not going to show you these videos, they're going to show you the clean version or the not so dramatic version. So let's just watch this really quick. Okay, guys, we literally can see it up in the skies. It is there. They do not give a shit anymore. They don't give a flying flip anymore because, again, most likely this is the US government's UFOs because they're spherical. It could not be, I'm not sure, but most likely it is because it just looks like they're trying to monitor and look at things, and they don't give a shit. They're just going to do this right in front of everybody's face. But again, they're not going to show these videos on the news. They're not going to tell you exactly what it is, but we can clearly see with this woman's reaction what it is. Okay, we can see the UFOs. They're flying everywhere, and they said this is in Mexico. This is in Mexico, and they've also seen this stuff in America and China so far. So the disclosure is coming, guys. Disclosure day is coming. The hard disclosure end game is definitely coming. Okay, so this is the videos that they show that they're showing on the news, and we can still see it's still very impactful, and I'll play the audio even though it's in Spanish for the dramatic effect. Where's the drama?
Imágenes desde México. De nuevo vemos estas impresionantes luces rojas que ya habíamos visto en otras partes del mundo como China, Estados Unidos y otras más. Algunos científicos dijeron que eran lasers, otros concluyeron que eran montajes con inteligencia artificial. Pero esta nueva evidencia desde México, captada a las 4 de la madrugada por un usuario mientras llovía, trae más y nueva evidencia a estas extrañas luces rojas que en esta ocasión observamos como espirales que se elevan y bajan y de pronto toman otras direcciones. Observe el video con detenimiento y díganos, ¿qué ve usted? El video ya fue analizado descartando montajes producidos con inteligencia artificial y aunque no hay una conclusión ni un pronunciamiento oficial de ninguna autoridad, el video ya suma.
Okay, guys, so basically she's saying that nobody is coming to any conclusions and they're just saying that this could be AI and this is just lasers according to officials, but honestly, guys, we know that it's not freaking lasers. We know it's not fucking lasers going off. We know what it is because we see it. We're literally seeing that they're just putting their lights, their surveillance, their UFOs all over the place. And let's see. let's see what else is going on up in the skies really quick, real quick. And I think this is another perspective of the red lights that again we're seeing in Mexico recently, and also that have also been shown in America and China. Come on, guys, like, how is that AI? Like, how is that AI? Okay? I don't get it. Even the sound effects, even with the sound effects, they're calling this a storm. This is not a freaking storm. It's not a storm. It's just not a storm. It's not. It's not a freaking laser. Okay, guys, now I'm going to get into the meat of basically what I want to talk about. I want to talk about America because, again, a lot of things are being foretold that eventually some sort of affliction or some sort of event is going to happen to America because, again, people think that they're sheltered from everything, especially if you're in a first world country, that everything is just gonna be okay. Everything is just normal. Everything is just back to the same old matrix system, but it is not. So, this is a hidden map from the CIA, and again, they publish this map, and they usually do this 20 or 30 years after they publish the CIA files to tell us the truth, because they have to tell us the truth, because if not, they're going to be karmically held in judgment, held accountable for what they've been doing behind the scenes, and this is the map that they have. So let's look at the map really quick, what the CIA put out.
This actually be a possibility. Look at these maps, like the ones shown depicting a reconfigured North America after a cataclysmic reset. Some observers notice the specific areas submerged on these maps and suggest they correlate to historical or theological connections, linking the geography of the future to the lands like ancient Israel or Egypt. There is a thought that this goes along with the theory of America being Egypt, and that this vast flooding may actually be intended to hide that connection. The source of this narrative is the book, The Adam and Eve Story, by electrical engineer Chan Thomas. While the original full-length book is cited as being over 200 pages, the CIA declassified the heavily sanitized version of only 57 pages. The CIA's redaction, stripping the document down from its original length, has fueled intense speculation that the agency suppressed the author's more detailed cataclysmic theories. The CIA collected this material during the Cold War as part of their interest in fringe science and unconventional research. If they really went to such lengths to redact the specific document, what do you think they are most afraid of us discovering? What are they hiding? Could this actually be a...
Okay, guys, again, if you are living in these parts of America that you see in the map, if you're seeing this and you need to take into consideration, if it'll let me play, if it'll let me stop exactly where I want
the future
stop.
To the lands like ancient... the geography.
Okay, if you see that you are seeing these things on the map, you need to take in consideration that there could be some sort of affliction over these areas. Why? Because they planned it out. They have already written the map out. So it could be that they artificially caused these floods, caused the reset, okay? Because they already have the technology to do so. They can cause EMPs, they can cause electrical magnetic pulses and outages to happen and cause some sort of fake reset, even though the real reset is going to happen with the sun and the earth working together, making sure that we enter into the new golden era, the new age. We enter into the reset, the natural evolutional reset. This could happen again. So you need to ask yourself, What should I be doing if I live in these areas? Do I feel the urge to move from these areas? If you do, you need to listen to your intuition. You need to listen to what your inner self is telling you at this time, because they put the information out there, okay? Majority of the people are not going to pick up on this. They're not going to care about, again, all the signs and symbols and secret documents and them telling on themselves, basically just in their little confessional booth telling on all of their plans for the future, which they always have to do. They always have to tell you what the heck is going on. Alright, so this lecture, again, we need to take in consideration that the America that you know, again, was created, and there was already people living in the Americas. There was already indigenous people. There were already tribes in the Americas, and they like to switch around the names. They like to put names and symbols, basically hiding the fact that there was already people living here. There was already countries within America. If it'll let me play. Let me play. Alright, guys, we gonna listen. We gonna learn today. This is the past reset. Let's see what.
I think there was also like a global, almost like amnesiatic occurrence that may have happened at the same time as the New Madrid earthquake that they referred to as the War of 1812. Because everything got switched up with that. They got us thinking that the British came here and invaded in 1812, when if you look on an exotic map of the United States, England was already where I think Ohio was at, or some shit. Excuse me, in the 13 colonies. The word exotic, right, means from another country. Right. So if you look at the exotic map of the United States and you see all of those names of all of these places, that means that each one of those places was its own country at the time here in North America. And these places that are now named after these places are now incorporated versions that came late, which means the original London is over here. The original Albion is over here. The original Egypt is over here. The original Denmark, Lisbon, Portugal, Krypton. You know what I'm saying? We got Krypton in Georgia. Matter of fact, off the coast of Georgia, you have Mount Arabia. You have Mount Arabia in Georgia on the coast. So you know what that means? That means that the Iberian Peninsula or the Arabian coast is off the coast of Georgia, because that place was called Mount Arabia before T.E. Lawrence and them niggas named what we know Arabia today as that in 1914. And remember, we used the oceans like rivers back then, because the ancient world, ancient Egypt, ancient Israel, ancient Assyria, ancient Babylon, ancient Mesopotamia, all that shit is over here. Those places didn't become that until after 1900. Mauritania is in Texas. All of that's in Texas, according to the House Congressional Record of the annexation of Texas of 1845. It says that the land belongs to the ancient Mauritanian races, the Moorish peoples, and their Indian associates. An associate is not an owner. An associate is somebody that was put on, not somebody that's privy to the whole shit. So again, Greece wasn't established until 1971. Mauritania over there wasn't established until 1972 or some shit. Egypt wasn't established until the 50s. Saudi Arabia wasn't established until the 50s. You understand? There was no Israel on the planet.
All right, guys. So basically what he's saying that all of these ancient cities, all of these ancient countries, all of their names were in the US, in the ancient Atlantean US, Atlantis, whatever you want to call it. And why did they transport and transplant all of these names across the sea? Why did they do it? Again, they're trying to shove it in our faces that we don't remember. Okay, the ancient people don't remember where they are, who they are, what country they were living in, what tribe that they were living in. And you have to know that they artificially created a lot of countries, okay? There are a lot of countries that did not exist before, and they just created them just like any other corporation just setting up shop like any other business, and this includes the country, the so-called country of Morocco. The country of Morocco did not exist. Israel did not exist, okay? They created these states. They created these states to confuse the people because there is no such thing as Aboriginal Moroccans. There is no such thing as Aboriginal Israel. And what he's saying in the video is that the Israelites, the true people of the earth, the true country names that they transplanted across the ocean was in the US. Okay? And that most likely is to confuse the people, keep us in sleep, and also to shove in our faces that we don't remember. We don't remember who we are. We don't remember the tribes that used to live in the US, and so forth. Again, using dark black magic, inverting everything, and just doing whatever the fuck that they want, I guess. So, let's see what's going on with the maps, because it's importante. Okay, I think I'm gonna play... Okay, let's go ahead and play this.
Van Landeren, and we've translated a few things on this map. So go ahead and hit the follow button as we dive in, especially if you like looking at old historic maps that say something different. Whether they're real or not, we don't know. We hear a lot of controversy, but I find them to be quite interesting. So we'll start off with the obvious. We have Ocean Tartarchus, and we have Tartaria right there. Shows Mongol. Quite a few other areas around here. Here's standards on my maps. And then we can see, let me just go ahead and zoom in real good for you so you can really see everything. Look at all the castles everywhere. We're going to talk more about these castles as we get to the Americas. But look at them everywhere. They're on the island areas too. This first little area down here, so that area translated to, it is probable that here lies the regions of which Marco Polo of Venice and Ludovico Valerianus speak in their writings about the East. Alright, I butchered those names, but that's what that one translated into. I'm gonna zoom back out. There, here. Another one we hear a lot about is that Barbaria. It's right there above Africa. Then it disappeared and said it doesn't exist. Not sure what they meant by that, but look at all the islands between the Americas and Europe. I don't think there's that many islands around anymore. There was a lot there back then. Go ahead and go. You see Greenland up top there. I want you to notice something. See the Arctic up there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Landmass is up there. Just saying. Alright, and then we got the Bergi region. Agama. Don't know what Agama is, but obviously it was important because it's huge as well. And then you have Chijigwa. Big castle there. Kanabas, big castle there. This is all like the America, Mexicana area right now. Anin, which is an area they said that was a myth, but I see it on all the maps. And then down here, look at this. Bavaria, which I've seen on several maps. Not only is it showing it as a big region, but then if you see right there, I'll go ahead and zoom in again. It shows it as a actual city with a little castle thingy there too. Sorry we're shaking it. This around so we can try to type it up for y'all. I thought that was cool too. Around here's California showing attached. Big area of Florida, Virginia. Look as we zoom into these areas right here. You see all the little castles everywhere, all over. Down. Oh, look at the Galapagos. Huh. Didn't know they knew them back then. And then some big sea creature taking over a ship. Interesting. Wonder why they would put that in a drawing. Alright, let's get ready for some translations down here. So we'll go with this one next right here, which translates into, some call this continent the Southern Land, others name it the Magellanic region after its discovery. Alright, so we had that one there. And then they call it Circulus Antarcticus. Then we have this one right here. That next one says these regions appeared to be to a certain Spaniard who, when his fleet was scattered, wandered through the Southern Ocean. Terra del Fuego. That literally means land of fire, because there's a lot of people living in the land of fire. And then they call this area Australia, Terra Australia. And here in Australia, which, I mean, I know they have animals, but listen to what it says here. The region called Padallatus or Lestonic, so named because of the extraordinary size of its animals. So that means these animals must have been huge back then. Don't know. Which animals are huge in Australia? I'm trying to think that there's any like amazingly huge animals there. I don't know of any. Anyways, just thought this map was cool from the 1594.
Alright guys, there's a lot of details that he mentioned that again lets us know that they have concealed a lot of stuff from us. The maps that we see today are not showing us really what's going on Earth, what is actually on the Earth. There's a lot more land masses that they want to show. He also showed all the castles that existed, especially in the Americas, because again, there was an advanced people with technology. That is where Atlantis was. And again, there's a lot of places that we do not have access to anymore, because most likely they're concealing it, hiding it off from the people. So let's go to the next video. Let's see what's going on with the Americas. And again, this is just another point of view about what's going on.
Wow. This is America. They do like the whole world, but this shot is of America. This lady, her name is Peggy Bolton. She did some really fun research regarding the Doomsday Map. She compared with what this map looked like. She compared that to the land that Bill Gates has been buying. All the farmland. He is the majority farmland owner in the United States right now. She took the map of the farmland that he owns and overlaid it onto this Doomsday Map. Every single dry land piece was occupied by his farmland, including California. So California is basically completely underwater, but there's these little pockets of islands. See those? That little one right there, that's one of his farmlands. Yep. Like that compared to like Zuckerberg. Oh, because on this Doomsday Map, Hawaii is completely fine. And she talked about how Jeff Bezos is also buying up farmland around the U.S. That all correlates with like these high points in America. Yeah. It's super creepy.
So we need to get a boat.
According to this map, we're good. We're gonna almost have beachfront property, baby.
Alright guys, so just letting you know, just putting it out there that again, this is most likely planned. Is it gonna happen? We do not know yet, but again, you need to take in consideration what they put out there, the information that they put out there in front of our faces. Alright guys, so I'm not going to play the video, I'm just going to show the images because again, he speaks in Spanish, I don't think it's going to translate, but this is the Queen of America, or again, the Queen of the island that we call Califia. And this is the queen. This is the Amazon queen, which California was named after. If you guys look at the map, you can see that there is ocean that's separating Califia or California from the mass of America. So that means that in the past it was its own island. She is very important. Again, she is very important for the West Coast. And I'm not sure what he says here, but moving on, this is the map that shows it. These are all the old maps that show California, the Golden State. Okay, California with its gold. Gold rush. Okay, we see that we have these melanated, Asiatic-looking dudes. We see that there were giants found in California. We see the giants literally being pictured in California, Califia. We see, I'm not sure what he's talking about here, but we see the difference in the humidity and, again, the race of primeval giants found in California. La de gigante or giants. Again, letting you know in front of your face that this is where everything was. And her castle. Okay, her castle, the Califia castle, they turned into a prison. They turned into Alcatraz, okay? Because that's what they like to do. They like to subjugate, siphon, invert the energy, put black magic on all the places that used to be holy and that were once belonging to the original peoples. So that is her land, guys. That is her land. And they literally put it in front of your faces with all the baseball teams and so forth, that's where she used to reside. And all those people used to reside. Alright, guys, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Again, this is what's currently happening in the state of the world.
I've heard from people in the Pentagon that the buzzword in the secret of secrets in the Pentagon is the Sumerian gods are returning, and that's what they're referring to as that whole area that Peter's.
Wow! Can you repeat that again, just in case anybody missed it? The buzzword
in the Pentagon, in the the military circles that are in the know about the cover up here, they kind of in whisper tones talk about the return of the Sumerian gods. And they're talking about the what we would call aliens or fallen angels returning into the Middle East, into old Sumer area.
The Anunnaki.
At that time, I didn't know.
What do you think
we
now?
have been in touch with the Anunnaki.
Okay. And are you aware of the Clark McClelland sort of testimony that talks about, this very, very tall spaceman do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So that was an Anunnaki, right?
Say again?
That was an Anunnaki. That was supposedly Clark McClellan always said that he saw this very large, tall being instructing a couple of our astronauts on the television screen.
Mm-hmm.
That was.
Well, if the beings he's talking of were almost like black Africans, yeah.
There is one image there that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off.
Dark.
Black skin.
Really black.
Were they tall? Very tall. How tall? Do you know?
Well, they got up
Well, what?
They say 7 feet.
7 feet tall.
Long before the craft began appearing over his backyard. This amazing video footage shows a glowing disc approximately 9 feet in diameter hovering just feet from his house. In a blink of an eye, the craft disappears. Once the footage is slowed down, we can clearly see the craft dematerialize frame by frame.
I said, you want me to prove to you that they exist? I took hundreds of them to the mountains and said, now watch, they're going to come from that direction. And I called them and they came, and they hovered above them. They saw with their own eyes. I told them what to chant, and they chanted, and the ship came close, being light, and took off. I said, those people are waiting to take you.
Alright guys, the Sumerian gods that they're talking about, they are already on Earth. So, a lot of them reincarnated as humans, as Earthlings, because that's what they were. They were Earthlings, and they are here on Earth. There's angels that have reincarnated. They are here on Earth because they're here, again, to anchor the new Earth, to make sure that, again, we enter into the new stage, that we get rid of the parasites, that the consciousness wakes up and there's no other option. There's no other timelines, guys. There is no timelines. They tried to splinter off the timelines and try to make a opposing Earth where, again, we're stuck in the curse, we're stuck in the delusion, in the matrix, we're stuck basically in sleep, but it did not work. Also, the Sumerian gods can also be referred to as the Anunnaki, which can also be referred to as the Nerubians, who came down to Earth, and again, they're a part of the Earth history now. They installated whatever, the Atlantean culture, civilization, and they also meddled. They meddled with the human genetics and all and so forth. So they are also considered our gods. So those guys are coming to Earth as well. They're already here with their ships, and they've been over the Earth waiting for us to wake up as well. And again, they're talking about that they're over 7 feet tall. They're always melanated. They're melanated because, again, that lets you know that the black skin, the melanated skin, is what absorbs the light, okay? Is what is the source of power. And this guy, I highly recommend that you guys go watch his entire interview. He's the author of The Ringmakers of Saturn, and The Ringmakers of Saturn, again, go back to the dark faction, the fallen angels, the so-called fallen angels, Enlil's children, okay, the Anunnaki that, again, was trying to subjugate, trying to turn us into prisoners, trying to keep this as a prison planet, trying to, again, take our energy because they don't have any creation abilities. All they can do is extract and rule over other people. And they did that by creating the rings of Saturn, basically to transmit this low frequency and to basically project that towards the moon, which again subjugated and projected itself towards the Earth and kept us in this perpetual state of dreaming. Us becoming the sheep forever, us being the prisoners forever, being stuck in the curse of Kingu. Alright guys, we are almost done for today, so let's see what else we got going on. A lot of disclosure is going to be happening on Earth, and one of the things that most likely will happen is a solar flash. And so there's some spiritual teachers that are saying that we don't need a solar flash anymore because we're already well on our way to ascension. We're already on our way to evolution. So there's no longer a need for the sun to have a solar flash and basically cause a quickening of the Earth, cause a quickening of ascension on the Earth, cause all of these light codes to enter the Earth. And not only does the solar flash do that, it's also going to make sure that all of the parasitical elite people aliens, beings that don't belong here are not going to stay here. So let's listen to David Wilcock as he talks about this.
Because I never went back and read these books that I'd written. I just dictated them, and then I was such a workaholic, I just kept on going with the rest of my life and doing all this other stuff. And I never even went back and read them. So I was totally amazed to find out this prophecy of a first wave of ascension, that it was going to happen by mid-2025, and that there is going to be, as I just said, a full solar flash, but only after everybody's ready for it. So some of us are going to be able to go right into that higher astral body and be ready for the full-blown fourth density right away. After this first wave happens. So apparently there will be some people who become incredible superheroes right off the bat. And this could involve telekinesis, this could involve telepathy, this could involve shooting lightning out of your hands, balls of light out of your hands. All these kinds of interesting things appear to be some of the basic stuff. The ability to project thought forms, to project complex visual thought forms. And again, by location, projecting your own essence into your fourth density body. And that's what we're all going to have to learn how to do. And once we're all finished with that, then there is a full solar flash, because now everybody has walked into fourth density, and everybody's walked off the stage of the earth. There's no need to be there anymore. We've all learned how to activate our astral bodies. We go into this new layer of existence, and only then is there the full solar flash. Now, the Law of One actually talks about all this stuff, and they estimate in the books that it's going to take somewhere between 100 to 700 years before this happens. Now, in the meantime, once we go through this first wave of ascension, we all get something that they describe extensively in the Law of One. You can go look it up or read Michael Prophecies again, where they talk about the third, fourth activated body. What the hell is the third, fourth activated body? The third, fourth activated body means that you live in a human body, you still have your body, but you also have your fourth density body activated enough that now it can do things like poltergeist events. It might start causing telekinesis to occur, and at first you don't realize that you are causing it, but it's this other version of you that would be like a ghost, that lives at the same time as you are living. So you're interconnected with this consciousness, and it can actually go and move things without your awareness. And so if you look at all the teachings of the classic ancient master yogis, they all talk about the importance of raising your consciousness, and eventually gets to the point where people are having lucid dreams, out-of-body experiences, and in the case of levitating saints, we talk about this in our new movie, Levitation. I hope you'll see that coming up. Levitation is going to be incredible. We have all these great stars we're interviewing for this, insiders. So when we see what's possible, it becomes an amazing phenomenon.
All right, guys. So this is the solar flash that, again, we don't know if it's going to come up or not. It's not for sure, because again, we have different timelines. We have different things that could or could not happen, but most likely, if the people of the earth do not want to wake up, okay, we do not want to wake up, we're going to have some sort of solar flash that does happen, because the sun is communicating with the earth, and the sun is saying, okay, let's do a solar flash to, again, add a quickening, make sure that we are on our ascension process. But as we can all feel right now, we are very much on our way. We are very much in the evolution process. We're on schedule, we're above schedule, and us entering into our light bodies and also being able to maneuver this physical body on Earth is something that we did during Lemurian times, Atlantean times. So this is not anything new. This is us just remembering, again, that we already had these abilities. We already had these powers. Yes, we could levitate. Yes, we could do all of these things, read minds. All of these things that they show in the superhero movies, you are attracted to these movies because, again, you used to do these things in past lives. This is what was going on in past times. But again, when the Atlantean times happened, okay, when they split off and there was different factions of the Atlanteans that split off and they had different ideas, philosophies, they split off and they caused disruption and they caused, again, this sleep on Earth. And they knew that this was going to happen. They knew that the civilization was going to be, it was going to go downhill. It was going to be back in a Kali Yuga, and we were going to be basically in a state of sleep. But they took control, okay, like I said, the black nobility, the black elite, they took control of this Kali Yuga time that has to happen. They took control of this sleep period, and they basically turned it into a nightmare, okay? And we have come so far from our natural selves. We have come so far that everything is centered around artificial technology, dead technology, plastic, putting things in your head when your body is the technology. Your consciousness is what generates everything. The Shakti in you, that divine Shakti that is within your body, that is circulating energy within you, again, is what energizes the entire universes, this whole construct, this whole realm. And now we're going to remember. We're going to remember once again. And most likely it will happen with a solar flash. We will enter in a solar flash because, again, that's just the ending. That's just the ending of the chapter. That's the spectacle. That's the dramatics that we all like at any superhero movie or any book. Is we just get that big bang and we enter into a new chapter of Earth. Alright guys, I'm gonna play this last video. I hope you guys are not bored because, again, this is highlighting the stuff that, again, we knew. America is Atlantis, was Atlantis. America was Egypt. America did have all of these ancient sacred cities, and they translated all of these names over to the Middle East and such.
Flash, in 2030, your heart has to be lighter than a physical feather. And I'm not talking about your physical heart because that's impossible and you would die. I'm talking about your spiritual heart, your heart chakra. Beings who vibrate on their fourth seat, which is your heart chakra, emit a green aura field. And that is how the Elohim can detect who to pick up on the shams. And on April 8th, 2024, there's going to be a solar eclipse over the whole entire country of America. And in the Bible, which is a collection of over 250,000 stolen Egyptian papyrus scrolls that were written by the wise men of the Nile that the Romans stole and put in a 52-mile tunnel in the Vatican, and they used this to make your Bible. These third-dimensional Europeans could never corrupt documents that fifth-dimensional thinkers wrote. So these Europeans could only corrupt these verses to their own understanding. So based on what consciousness you're vibrating on, you will still be able to see through the corruption. I'm going to show you this. Jesus, who is the Son, the physical Son, S-U-N, of God, who is the black nation, said that the symbol of him returning would be when the sun and the moon darken. And remember how I told you guys that America is the new Babylon, right? Watch this. April 8th, 2024. The sky is going to darken as if it were dawn or dusk because of the solar eclipse, okay? Which is going to be over America, which is the new Babylon. And it is not a coincidence that this solar event is taking place exactly 7 years after the solar eclipse over America in 2017, when the blue star Kachina arrived. And during that eclipse, that little fire that I mentioned in my previous video that's going to spark inside of your etheric body is going to be that ghost DNA that is deactivated in the blood of Africans, that is the Anunnaki genetics. And that solar eclipse is going to trigger the awakening of those genetics. And it's going to start fusing light information into your light body. And if your consciousness can't handle the information, you're going to slowly go insane, turn into a mental zombie, and you're going to die. And the others who are vibrating on their heart chakra or higher will just get an upgrade and get that Christ consciousness, which is the hidden sun within their etheric body. If y'all want more information.
Alright guys, so I think I showed you guys the solar or the lunar eclipses, the full lunar eclipses, but let's just see over America. And as BDel1014 says, you should check out his channel. It literally creates an ALF symbol. So it creates this symbol, and again, it's showing us all of the different ones. Okay, so 2023, 2024, that definitely happened. And let's make sure that I spell it right. So the ALF symbol, Hebrew. Symbol, what is the meaning? Tell us the meaning. Okay, so it means oneness, unity of God, ultimate beginnings, and strength. Okay, so it is now evolved into the English letter A. It is now the English letter A. So let's see if we can see the completes. It's showing me all of them, all at the different ages, but I want to see. Okay, so here it is. We see the ALF symbol, okay? We see the letter A, we see what has turned into the letter A, and also they like to put this, again, in superhero movies with the Avengers, okay? Representing oneness, representing the new coming, the new beginnings. This is exactly what is happening. And the solar eclipse, or the lunar eclipse that we saw, again, was in Spain. Was in Spain, and I forgot where else was. Oh, why do I keep saying lunar eclipse? It's solar eclipse. This is how you know that I need to just exit. It's time for my exit, guys. It's time to exit. Okay, so Russia, Greenland, Iceland, Spain, partial in Europe, Northern America, and Africa. So it's happening basically, all of these eclipses are happening in all of the countries of the world. All of the countries of the world throughout this modern time has been able to see the solar eclipses happen. And it's because we're entering the new beginnings, we're entering the new age, and it's also denoting for the Americas that there is going to be an affliction, some sort of event that is going to happen to the US of A, because it is the mystery Babylon. It is the Babylon that was transplanted over to the Americas, because again, that is where the parasitical elite put their headquarters with the White House, where they have been secretly living in tunnels in Europe and also in the Americas. Alright guys, I think that is it for today. I don't want to give you too much information. Hopefully this was enlightening for you. Hopefully you learned something new. Again, I'm not an expert on all of this information. I've just been doing my due diligence, trying to research as much, trying to retain as much, trying to consume, trying to relay as much information as I can, because I know whoever is listening is the chosen one, is the earth, one of the earth angels, is again the Avengers, the X-Men that I've been talking about, the past Atlanteans, the Sumerian gods. You guys are all of that and above the Christ consciousness. So, let me know if you guys have any information, any comments, anything that I didn't mention, and also leave it for other people to read. Because again, you enlightening me and other people just gives you a lot of good light and karma for all of us. So, I'm gonna leave it as that. Let me know what you guys think, and if I missed anything, if there's anything that you think is going on with America, aka Atlantis.